Good evening. Welcome to episode 238 of the Brewers Beer Comics and Sword Geekery. Jeff, to my right, is the third ship member of the Viking Raiders. And what was the other thing you said that was quite good? Yeah, you said something else that was quite funny, but I didn't.
I've already forgot. But yeah, I'm like the Viking Raider that works from home. That doesn't have any time in the ring. Actually, I think are they back to War Raiders now? I think.
Oh yeah, I think they are. Yeah, wherever they were before, they were War Machine before, weren't they? When they were in.
I I'm the Viking experience. That was the one that lasted like 7 days before it said no.
So fucking horrible.
Zadig and their big burly lads with beards. Vikings, that'll do.
Just like that's just like you hear a lot about the Vince McMahon like era and like how like that was like I feel like for me the Viking Raiders was like almost like the Viking experience was like the last hurrah of Vince McMahon. You know, one of his last things was like can't just let them be who they are. You know, which was in the Indies they were just total tanks, weren't they? They just went and beat the shit out of her, which is why they were hired.
Mm-hmm.
I watch a lot of stuff online.
Machines.
Yeah,
like the agility of these guys, they're both absolute units.
Yeah, but that quite a lot. Like I always thought that was really, really funny, and I know that that's kind of been talked ad nauseum by loads of other folk. But the idea that like WWE's previous hiring strategy was to hire folk and then totally strip them of everything that made them the reason they were hired, which is quite weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you were in the Indies, and yeah, fair enough, you were a big hit in the independents, but this is the big leagues now, so you now need to understand how it works. And it's like, okay, it's just like total nonsense.
You are now Finn Balor.
Yeah, where you like consider what it is now, and you're like, actually, like it works better now because of that sort of freedom that you're allowing your talents, and yeah, weird. It is weird. Have you a beer for this evening?
Yes, I opened one. I knocked it over when I came in, and just as I poured it there, it kind of exploded over the carpet.
Oh, no.
Awesome. It is a Speyside Brewing. You can't see that at all, but Pacific Paradise, nice. New Zealand IPA.
Ooh, that sounds lovely.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, 6.5%. I think I picked this up when I was in Pitlochry last year. And I had like 2 whiskey shops, and they both kind of had their own little beer corners. So I was going from shop to shop, just looking for tins that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And this was one.
Yeah. Speyside are great. So Speyside, they're in that conglomeration where they brought in Alchemy. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. I love Speyside stuff. It was Kate, who's the manager, one of the marketing directors at Speyside, that invited us to that thing last year or the year before now. It was that long ago where we were like went to Edinburgh. Me, Colin, and Andrew. Yeah. It was good fun. Yeah, excellent brewery run by excellent people, and that we've talked a lot about in the show about how these different breweries have like struggled to stay running. A lot of them have folded and stuff, and like I think what they did was identify or acknowledge that that's what was happening to the industry, and came up with a way to combine. And like, yeah, three solid breweries that, like, I know you've always been a bit of a fan of Broughton, haven't you? And then I got right into Alchemy because they were doing. They had one beer. Is it Charisma? They had a beer. Their beer Charisma was in the commercial for like months. Just a great beer. There was a period of time, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where I was going into the commercial once or twice a week for about 3 months, and it was like whenever Alchemy had Charisma on, it was just like fuck yes, it's so good.
Yeah, I think I've had a couple of their beers. They sometimes end up in like that Aldi or little beer festivals when they do them. And there was like a blood orange one they did that was really nice.
Yeah. Oh, just a good brewery. Broughton's is it Hippopotamus? It's quite good. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Hoppo.
Hoppo, yeah. That was so good. That's a great beer as well. That's good. I love it. It's good that they're still going. I grabbed I grabbed a collaboration. I think I must have got this from a beer box. I'm trying to see. It's my last like silly beer in the house, and I've been kind of putting it off, and it's lovely. It's a 7% decadent stout from Northern Monk, and Neon Raptor.
Ah, right, okay.
It's called Archaic.
Yeah, cool can wrap.
I like it. It's quite all seeing eye. It's got like an eye and the snake and
yeah,
it's cool. A dinosaur and Skyrim stuff. It's all right. It's dark as fuck. You've had it for ages, and I looked at the bottom of the can just the other day, and its best before is like Tuesday. So I'm like, yeah, like it just got in there.
Yeah,
but fantastic beers. Miss a beer a lot actually. I find that we talked about this quite a lot actually with we've talked about this before in the pub and that, but when we started the podcast, it was pre-COVID, and we were able to, I think we're all a wee bit more like disposable income and stuff. So it was like I was spending quite a lot on beer and comics on a weekly basis, and now I'm like, it's good that Aldi and Asda now have decent craft beer because you can spend that extra time in there.
Yeah.
You can spend that extra time in there and be like, oh, it's just that little bit cheaper as well.
Exactly. Like I was the same. Like I got plenty of beers towards the end of the year, like Vault City stuff at the beginning of the year, just like through like subscription boxes. I thought, right, that's me for ages. And then I got an email yesterday, and it's like, oh, your next Brewser box has been dispatched. And like, shit, I forgot to cancel that. So
yeah, it's quite a lot as well. Is it like 20 or 30 quid? Yeah.
This one's 30 quid, and I don't know. I think I just left it blank. I just remember I chose Vault City for their Burns Night box, and I've not got anything in for the rest of the year, so I just assumed that would have been skipped. But I think they have like a brewery of the month, and you just get a selection box of that. So I've just deliberately not read into it. I'll just take what I'm given. Should be a surprise with whatever's in the book.
That's problem, man. There's I always love those boxes. They're just like these subscriptions as well. Like I was speaking to the little shop of heroes about getting starting a subscription back up with 2000 AD.
Yeah,
that was it. I was just looking at it. It was like beer or comics. And I haven't read comics for ages, and they bring me so much joy that I was just like, yeah. It also means that I can like start doing. I used to when we first started the podcast. I read a lot of 2000 ADs and just reviewed them on the show, and was just like, oh, like this week's 2000 AD. This is what's happening. It's a good gateway comic for like folk that don't really do comics as well. Get 2000 AD. So yeah.
Yeah, I picked up. Oh, actually, I've had this comic book for a while now, just not got around to reading it. But it's a familiar one.
Oh, nice.
Got it in from the local library in Kirkcaldy.
Beautiful.
23rd of November. It was supposed to be returned.
Oh no! I need to go up to. We were chatting on the group chat earlier about. I was asking you boys if anyone had a printer, and Colin was like, "The library's got one." I'm like, "That's a good point." However, I think I have an overdue library book. It's back in, but like I've deliberately not gone back because I know I'll probably loan like a tenner, and I'm like, it's not got.
It's never that bad, really.
Yeah.
From my time in the service, the library service, I think like the pandemic killed library fees. I think ever since then, like books were overdue, but they stopped charging people money for them.
Yeah. So well, let's see. I'm going to go up. My next day off is Wednesday after today, so I think I'm going to go up, or maybe in one of the mornings next week, and just be like try and settle my debts so I can use the printers. But then I also get access to comics again. I forget, like the Dunfermline Library's got an amazing comic selection.
Yeah.
So I accessed. I read Mouse and I read Watchmen.
My library had that as well.
Just amazing books. So yeah, it's a good shout, man. Yeah, that's is that is that Scott Snyder's The Dark Knight? Am I making that up? The one you've got?
That it's the one that's written and drawn by Jock.
Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've got some Jock art just over here. Look, he's one of the stalwarts. Give me a second.
Okay. I don't have any art.
This is my Jock piece of work.
Oh, okay, I remember this now.
Yeah, I've not got it signed. Colin's got.
Colin did. Yeah, he got his signed.
His is signed in
he had a
frames.
drawing on it.
Yeah. So that's on my to-do list. But I've not got any Comic Cons coming up where I know he's going to be there. But yeah, that's the reason I've got the cans sitting out. I've also got it sat right here. I'll show you. It's right here on this shelf. I've only got that, and I've got that and one other bottle.
Oh, there's this piece of modern art right there.
Oh, I love it. I've got I used to have our beer as well, but I've since lost it. So I need to speak to I need to speak to like Andrew or that and see if you've got a spare one. I took off all the spare cans as I was drinking our speech bubble one. I was peeling off the can art and sticking them to my laptop. So I had my laptop was covered in them, and then I broke the laptop. So I'm like,
I'm the same. We had like a handful of labels at the end of it, and the rest were like stuck to boxes, and I was clearing stuff out. Like, this is literally just a piece of cardboard, but I had the label on it, so I didn't have the heart to throw it out. And I was like, well, rather than keeping the box, I would just keep this little cutout from a beer.
You should absolutely keep a hold of that. I'm kind of gutted I've not got evidence of speech bubble anymore. Obviously, you can go online and I can see pictures on the Brewers and stuff. But
aye. Maybe Colin or Andrew might still have a tin.
Yeah. See if anyone's got like a couple or something. I can just steal the label.
Or maybe even the guy that brewed the beer for you.
Oh yeah.
Because they would have printed the labels.
They were superb. Yeah. They did everything. It was guys up in Beath Brewing that helped us up. You know, in County Beath.
Yeah.
So good, fantastic.
I've never been there yet.
Oh, I don't like. I'm not gonna lie. Just have fallen out with beer and stuff in the last year-ish, and like life's moved on a wee bit. But I don't even know Beath Brewing. I'm just going just now to see Beath Brewing are still doing their thing.
It's a sad fact. Just this year I've realised 2 of the breweries that I went and done like videos of, kind of inside the brewery, like. Both have been shut like since 2023, and it just never dawned on me to look or check up on them. But yeah, Ovenstone 103 and Air Brewing Company both folded since like I've posted videos about them.
Yeah, so. That's a shame. Yeah, that was the same as us. Like we had so many so Beath have posted in December. No, they were brewing in October, so
okay.
Fingers crossed. I just need to refocus myself and work out where they are. Let's have a look. There's a picture here. That's for a wee while they were in like we always meant to go to the Crown Tavern, and they were supplying beers to like the Crown Tavern in Kinghorn and stuff. And I've always just great. The guys there are awesome, and they helped us out with Beath. They helped us out with a speech bubble. That was a really amazing experience. Start branching out to these guys again and say hi. It's good.
Definitely.
We're the same. It is a sad fact since we started, like we never ever had Interbay on the show, but we talked about them a lot, and we had quite a good relationship with them when we first started, and they're not around anymore. We had Seven Kings Brewing on one of our early podcasts, and I think they were a victim of COVID.
Right. And what's the name? Cool Brewing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I love these hearings.
I just love the guys at Cool Brewing. They obviously did the thing with us when we did the
the online beer tasting.
The beer tasting thing, which was a great night, and it was. It was Beath. Who was it? Beath,
Brewshed and Cool.
Yeah, and obviously,
two beers from each of them.
Cool aren't with us anymore. And Brewshed, I think, are totally like. I think they're still with it, but they just supply to one pub now.
Right.
Like there's a pub in Couris in Dunfermline, and they just supply there, and I think to a couple of the smaller shops in that area.
Ah.
Yeah, it's just all right. It's a changed world, eh? 6
Yeah,
years.
exactly.
6 years is a long time. Yeah, I've got a couple of comics that I've got sat in there to read, but I've not read them yet, so I'm saving myself for them as well. I bought like an alternative Christmas compendium. It's just like weird stories full of, and it's but it has guys like, I think it has guys like Jock and Al Ewing and stuff in it. Just like little like short stories that I love those. So I'm hoping that I'll grab that and give that a read for next week. But yeah, it's all good. How is your week's been in terms of like watching telly and shit and that? Have you had you said you were watching the start of the year?
It's been not bad. Let's say last time we spoke, I'd finished watching Shogun, so it was just a case of trying to find something new. So I think we've been watching a couple of films just to clear the TiVo. It was like stuff we had just recorded lots over Christmas, and eventually decided, right, let's sit and watch Deer Hunter. Let's watch Catch Me If You Can, and it was just.
Those are both bangers, by the way.
They are. They are. Like
very different films, mind you. Deer Hunter's great, but
oh my god, that was pure through the chance of channel hopping, and it was on Sky Arts, and it just started. It was 10 minutes in, and part of me was like, well, you can't skip the Deer Hunter. Like whenever it's on, like you watch the Deer Hunter. So
correct.
Recorded it. I forgot like the first half hour of that movie is a blinking wedding. Like it just. Yeah. They just let the cameras roll for ages, and everyone's sweating because they've been dancing, they've been drinking, they've been fighting, then they're dancing again, and then now there's the actual ceremony, and yeah, it's I described it. I've done like a wee letterbox thing after it, and like the first half of the movie, you remember how much you love the characters, and like just the friendship and just how authentic everything is between that close-knit group of friends, and then the second half of the movie breaks your heart like through just all the effects of the war and what it does to them and how it ends. It was just one of those films that just like holding back tears no matter how many times I see it, and I'm just thinking, let's hope could it end differently this time. Maybe you can talk Christopher Walken out of playing Russian roulette. Maybe you could actually do it this time, and it just never happens, and you're just left this quite sobbing mess. Like, shall we watch the IT Crowd?
It is have something sitting in the background ready to go, isn't it? So.
Yeah, so we binge watched the first series of the IT Crowd.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's on Disney Plus, and it's I've never watched it from start to finish. I remember the first season, maybe the second, and then realizing it was 4 series, and altogether it was 24 episodes.
Yeah, and then they had like a cap-off episode as well, like a one-off hour. It's only maybe like an hour long.
Yeah, I think so. So I think all that's now on Disney Plus.
Oh, so cool.
We've just been putting that on for just nice, easy, switch your brain off and laugh at the TV.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember at the time when Chris Morris, the guy from Brassai who plays Denham in the first. Is that his name?
Yeah.
I remember thinking he was like the funniest guy alive, and then when he quit, I was like, how are you going to replace them? And it's Matt Berry. It's just like, and I didn't really know Matt Berry other than seeing a couple episodes of The Mighty Boosh with him in it and not enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then he shows up, and I was like, oh my god, this guy is. And that was like the start of a love affair with, I've been a massive Matt Berry fan now.
Voice.
Oh yeah, 20 years now, I think, since those episodes.
That was like
that voice. He used to be Absolute Radio for years, didn't he? Well, if he still is, he does the voice over work for Absolute Radio.
Oh, I never knew.
So I've been listening to Absolute Radio for years and years and years. You can't get it now unless you've got like a digital radio, or it used to be on AM, so you could go and like like 12:15 a.m. and you would get Absolute Radio, and it's just him going, "You're listening to Absolute Radio," and he would just, and just they had him doing bits talking shite, and it was great. Like, you know, every so often he's like, "Well, that song was a banger. How about another one?" And then he was like, and then there was one I can't even remember. It was, I think it was a New Order song, and I remember just being like sitting in the car with like Claire and the kids driving on holiday somewhere, and it came on. He's like, "We all enjoyed that song, but this song will blow you away." And then it was like the start of Regret by New Order, and then the song stopped for just long enough for Matt Berry to pop back in and go, "Told you." It's like yes. It's like, I love you, Matt Berry, and obviously What We Do in the Shadows, which I haven't seen as much of it. I haven't seen as much of as others.
Yeah, he is probably the best part. But no, actually, all four of them are really good. But he just has some great lines in it, because it's always like he'll be telling stories like, "That time I went to New York City." It's just like he can't just say it. Like, his delivery always has to jump all over the place.
We wouldn't like that to credit. I was speaking to Sonny about this as well, actually, because we were watching something and it had Richard Adewale. I was watching Necropolis, right. And Sonny came in. He was like, "That's the guy that does the voice of, he's the voice of the baddie in a movie called like The Bad Guys. Like, it was like a yeah." And he was like, I was like, "Oh, he was mossing him. He was mossing IT Crowd before he was anything else." And then like followed his career as well. Like Travel Man was good fun as well, like, you know. So yeah, it's mad. It's mad. Like, when you think, like, I would talk about Peep Show quite a lot as well. Like, when you think about who Peep Show had in it and what they've all gone off to do, and consider what Peep Show was.
Olivia Colman.
Yeah, exactly. And then like,
what's Mark and Jez doing?
Well, they've not done too bad for
themselves. They have done not too bad. But I'm just thinking of, like, I'm not sure where Super Hands is nowadays, but
I was in I don't know where he is. I was in Brighton. I was in Brighton a couple of years ago with my mate. There was the weekend that I come and hung out with you, but in London.
For All In.
Yeah, for All In. We were in Brighton the night before, and there was a mural of Super Hands on the side of on the side of like a building right next to the train station. I was like, "What the fuck, Super Hands doing here?" And they're like, "Oh, he's from Brighton. The actress from Brighton."
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, IT Crowd is epic television. If you've not seen IT Crowd, you should. It's just great. It's just really, really good. Catch Me If You Can. You mentioned Catch Me If You Can as well. I watched that last year.
Aye.
I used to adore that movie as a child, and then so I rewatched it last year. I was like, "Oh, actually, this is deeper than I thought it was." You know, the thing about like him is like trying to
a relationship with his parents.
Exactly that, man. You pick up on this stuff differently.
Constantly trying to repair his family, and you never notice that Tom Hanks loses his family just in the pursuit to catch him. Yeah,
totally. And just like I was reminded of like, it's funny because you watch these films. We've talked about this before. When you watch films when you're younger, and you come back to them as an older, jaded human being with kids of your own. Yeah, and you're like, "Oh my god, this like." I remember watching that film when it came out and thinking like the whole Leonardo DiCaprio's character was really cool, and like, you know, like when he's swindling and he's like doing all that stuff. When you watch it back now, and you're like, he's just a wee boy that wants his dad. You know what I mean? Like, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
And then sort of his dad's kind of like he's always looking for his dad's approval, and his dad's quite a broken man who's just always trying to like get ahead. Beat the system
from Peter to pay Paul, but always come off looking successful. And
it's a sad film. It's still thoroughly enjoyable. And
and that's it. The most recent film we watched was that new one, the Kieran Culkin and Jesse Eisenberg, A Real Pain.
I saw it. I've not watched it yet.
Yeah, it is. I enjoyed it. It's like a neat, maybe 90, 100 minutes. Like, nowadays, a fucking 90-minute movie's like considered a short film. But it's just two cousins traveling to Poland to find the birthplace of their grandmother. and they do like a history tour, and it's just kind of one, as you can imagine. Jesse Eisenberg has got his life together. Everything's perfect. He has tablets for everything, and Kieran Culkin is just kind of off the rails cousin that will light up. There's a great line in the movie where he'll walk in a room and light it up and then find a reason to shit on it. It's just this great character that everyone loves him, but fucking they'll hate him at the same time. But no, both of them brilliant characters that had it. I can see why it's getting a lot of like an award attention. And Kieran winning all these best supporting actors. I think Jesse's winning or has won several. I guess maybe it's like original screenplay or something because he's written and directed it.
That's right.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
No, it's definitely highly recommended. It's not the levels of like The Holdovers, which has still probably been the best film I've seen this year. But no, it's good.
That's good.
It's definitely worth checking out.
Absolutely, man. I'll definitely do that. That sounds great. That sort of stuff. The new film I saw this week, I went to see Dogman with Sunny last week.
Yeah. How was it?
It was okay. I fell asleep through it, which very much. I don't know if anyone's seen like Captain Underpants. Like it's clever and it's funny, and the art style is great. The film looks amazing. Just really like. It was aimed at Sunny's age. Like it did, I felt even watching it, like it didn't even have that. You know, you watch like the Lego movie or you watch like a Disney movie, there is like sly nods for the parents watching. There wasn't that. It was just silly, and it wasn't overly clever either. Like it was just it was good fun. It was good. Enjoyed it. It was fine. And Sunny loved it. It was more for his benefit, but it's good if anyone's like. You wanted to go and see it because I told him about it was a 4DX, about when you sit in this chair.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Can we go watch that 4DX?" I'm like, "Man, it's only like 79 minutes long or whatever." You know what I mean? It's not a long movie. And I was like, "We're probably better holding off for like Star Wars or a Dune or
like a Marvel movie."
Marvel movie to get or like just an action blockbuster just to get that experience.
Yeah.
And if he gets that, so I know Captain America comes out today, so. Maybe see that next week, I think, and try and catch it in 4DX.
Yeah.
That was. But Dogman's alright. Like totally harmless movie. It's got some funny bits, some kind of silly characters in it.
Yeah.
Totally recommend it if you're just wanting some daft to watch with your kids, and that sort of Wallace and Gromit vein. You know, that kind of. It was good. And then I've also been watching Cobra Kai came out today. So I've caught the first episode, and I'll probably watch the rest tonight. To be honest, after I've come off here, I'll just sit and stream it through.
That's it. I think I've left. I think this is now the moment I will watch this final season because it was split into 3 parts, wasn't it?
It's been pretty brutal. Like
I've just ignored it until now. So I think maybe when we finish IT Crowd, I might jump onto Cobra Kai. But I wonder the fact that is it May we have this Karate Kid, is it Legends or something? Movie. I wonder if the Ralph Macchio from Cobra Kai and Karate Kid is it the same person?
Yeah,
like
because it's called
Jackie Chan show up in the last episodes.
I've not got that far yet, so
like a link into the movie. I feel like it should, but
I would imagine it would because it's called a Karate Kid story. So I don't know if it's like set now or it's like kind of like a prequel, because they could like set it roughly around. I don't know. I've not. I've watched the first episode. It's dealing with the immediate fallout of like what happened just before like the break in episodes, and it's been alright. It's quite funny. This is like they haven't really got over the fact that like karate is everything, and I always find that quite funny. I find I never felt that more so. I know it's a bit of a joke, and I know it's a bit of a laugh, the program, but I felt like this last season is taking itself maybe a bit too seriously. And like things sort of have slowly escalated every season, but they hit like a sort of, they're in the World Championships, you know, and it's just like, it just gets a bit silly, and you're like, at what point do you like? I was at work last week, and the Scottish karate, the Scottish karate team came to my Starbucks. And I was chatting to them. I was like, "Oh, you guys like the Scottish karate?" Like I saw like karate, and I was like, "You guys like a karate team?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're the Scotland squad." I was like, "Oh, that's well cool." And I was like, "It's a bit." And I was like, "Is it a bit like Cobra Kai?" And the guy that I was speaking to did like a massive eye roll. Like he could.
How many times has he been asked that?
And I did kind of say, I was like, I've been watching Cobra Kai with my youngest son, who's 9, and he wants to do karate as a result. And he's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, everybody, all the young ones that come up through karate have got into it watching Cobra Kai. Mm-hmm. He's like, but he's like, it's nothing. Like he's like, what they show you on Cobra Kai is not karate. It's just martial. It's just fighting. You know, it's choreographed fighting. And,
exactly.
That's a good show, and it's good. I'm sort of glad it's coming to an end, because they've kind of played out the whole.
Is this like, the 6th season?
Yeah, last season, 6th season, and it's like 15 episodes. So they've all been 10 episodes before.
Yeah,
and even like I think season 1, they were all half-hour episodes, and this last season they've been like 47 minutes, 50 minutes. So like, yeah, they've really dragged it out, and like it was getting a wee bit like, oh my god, how many times do we have to have the conversation about whether Johnny and Daniel can just get on or not? You know, like how many, and hopefully it's just gonna end now, and tie it up. And actually, it's been one of my favorite shows ever. Actually, it'll probably be one of those TV programs I talk about for the rest of my life as being fucking Cobra Kai. By the way, so good. And it based on a joke. It was based on the joke that the idea that, you know, it was based on, was the whole original idea came from some random YouTube video that a guy made about how
what's this character doing nowadays, and
that Johnny was the real villain. Johnny Daniel.
Was the victim.
Johnny was a victim, and Daniel's the real villain. You know, if you look at it from Johnny's perspective, he's got his life together. He's a karate champion. He's a 2-time All Valley champion. He's dating Elizabeth Shue, and then this fucking wee boy from New Jersey shows up and just noises up his entire life. Ruins it. He's like, yeah, actually, if you look, and that was the joke. But now they've managed to turn it into one of the most successful TV shows of the last like decades.
Yeah, exactly. It's revived the franchise.
Fair enough. Absolutely. So I'm excited to watch that. I caught this new series. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on Channel 4. It's an Adult Swim. I've been watching. It's called Common Side Effects.
No,
I would totally recommend it. It's only like 4 episodes in, so of its first season, and it's the basic idea is like it's executive produced by Mike Judge. You know, the guy that did like Beath and Butthead, King of the Hill
Valley. Yeah.
He does a voice in it, but it's all about, you know, so it's like the same sort of satire that runs through all those kind of programs. But it's about a guy who has discovered a mushroom that can like cure all illness, like every illness that's ever existed. He's got this little blue luminous magic mushroom that if you take a dose, like you can, you know, it'll heal gunshot wounds, or like, you know, at one point he demonstrates the drug to somebody by he breaks the neck of a pigeon on the street, and then feeds the pigeon this mushroom, and then it like reconnects and it's fine. And totally random, but it's just this thing. It's like a sort of semi-comedy, like animated drama about him getting chased around by. So obviously the government and big pharma and all this stuff don't want him to.
Exactly.
They go between like they want it because they can monopoly. You know, they could like mass manufacture it, but also there's the conspiracy that actually, particularly in America, like pharmaceutical companies don't want people to get better because they get their they make profit on selling medical products. So if there's a medical product out there that stops all illnesses, then big pharmacy companies will go out of business. So it's cool. There's all the conspiracy stuff. It's conspiracy stuff, and like I don't know. I've not read up on it. I don't know if it used to be a comic. I imagine it probably is based on something, but just thoroughly enjoying it. Like really
Yeah.
good show, and it's I say for on demand for free. You can anyone can catch it. You don't have to jump on a
Yeah, it's
jet and fly
interesting.
to America,
No.
or you just
Yeah.
catch it.
Aye. Exactly.
Yeah. It's called Common Side Effects. It's just really good. I totally recommend it.
Yeah, I'll look into it.
I think what else happened this weekend? I went to see. Me and Sonny went to Glasgow to see the Star Wars exhibition that they have.
Yeah, of course.
The Transport Museum has got a Star Wars thing happening from now until April. Not massive, to be honest. Like three sections, like 3 dioramas. That if anyone that's been to like a Capital Sci-Fi Con, you would have seen something similar. But
Okay.
they do have a full size TIE fighter sitting in one of the hangars, which is absolutely incredible. And they have a land speeder, and they have the thing that Rey drives around on when she's in on that sort of Tatooine kind of planet in Force Awakens.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's a diorama with like R2, C3PO, and a bunch of Ewoks, which is pretty smart. So I saw that. Sonny got his photograph next to it, and I said to Sonny, I was like, who would have thought that the Ewoks would be like massively influential in the downfall of the Empire? And Sonny's not got that far yet in the series. So he's just seen Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, and we watched Rogue One earlier today as well. And they all build up the Empire, and they build up particularly Vader and Palpatine and stuff into these massive unstoppable forces. And so I think when I said to him in the Transport Museum, like, so the Ewoks are like massively responsible, they're a massive influential element in the Empire like crumbling. He thought I was taking a piss. He was like, "What?" I was like,
These
"No,
little
like
bears,
these little teddy bears." I was like, "Yeah, I swear down. Return of the Jedi. These guys are, they're a massive part of the downfall of the Empire." And he's like, "You just couldn't get it." I was like, "It'll make sense when you see it." And it's like, and actually, it works. Yeah. It's made that when you look at it now, it's just that wee bit more sillier. You're like, oh yeah. Particularly when we watched Rogue One today. It's such a dark movie. On the surface, like it kills its entire main cast.
Yeah.
Nobody makes that.
It's like a suicide mission.
Yeah. And then like the whole Empire's brought down by teddy bears and
yeah.
But no, it's
I'm sure the director of Rogue One is the person that's directing this new Jurassic World movie.
Like Gareth Edwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's given me hope that this new Jurassic World movie could be interesting or dark. But the trailer seemed a bit odd. It just anytime someone spoke, it was like trying to be like a Marvel quippy one-liner, or someone would say something with serious implications, and the other person will go, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? It's like, no. But
it did have
it's a bad trailer.
I thought the same when I watched it. Is it 20th Century Fox have got Jurassic Park, isn't it? Is it? I'm not sure. Or Universal? I don't know. It might be Universal actually. But yeah, I think I totally agree with what you're saying. I wasn't blown away by the trailer either. I watched it as well, and I was just like, I think the combination of things. It doesn't look like it's a continuation of like the current set of movies, which is maybe alright. I don't know. Maybe they've done. I like Jurassic World. I wasn't overly keen on the other two. They were fine, but not essential viewing. But then you can say that about the original Jurassic Park movies. The first one's great, and the other two are just kind of there.
Yeah, aye, that's it. Like, they've made one amazing film and 5, 6 bad ones.
Right ones, yeah.
But it's like they're
I really like
because
I like Jurassic World. I really like Jurassic World. I think Jurassic World's great.
That's it. I had such a great gap, like a space between it. Like you missed dinosaurs at that point.
Yeah.
Like this, I'm not sure what the space was between Jurassic Park 3 and then Jurassic World, but just the scale of it, the dinosaurs were bigger, the theme park was established, and then it all went to shit and the pterodactyls started attacking the people. Yeah, it was brilliant.
I really enjoyed it, but the other two are a bit pish, to be honest. I had high hopes. I had high hopes for Fallen Kingdom because I was like, I quite like the idea that
just watching all those dinosaurs like fall off the island as it's like there's a volcano, but they can't show you it, so it's just silhouettes through clouds of smoke.
Yeah.
It's like, that's even worse.
Yeah, it's brutal, yeah.
But to be honest, just movies with dinosaurs in it, like I probably will enjoy it because they're just like that trailer. It's like, yeah, all the parts for people seems a bit pants, but dinosaurs.
I'm still going to see it. I think what you're saying about it being quippy like Marvel is totally accurate. It's not helped by the fact that Scarlett Johansson is the lead, and obviously she is so rooted and established within Marvel that she, I did get the vibe. I was like, she's just playing Black Widow, but like with a bit of Lara Croft about her. But we'll see. I will go and see it. I'm not
exactly. Like, definitely, this is a guaranteed opening weekend. My family will be there, so and probably buying the stupid popcorn bucket that all cinemas do.
I was listening to another podcast talking about it. One of the podcasts I was listening to is they were trying to find there's a Red Skull bucket for the new. But apparently
America?
But they haven't like produced that many. They're like, okay, we're all talking about the June one. The June that we talked about. Being like, it's fucking horrible. I've not bought a novelty bucket. Like I've not seen any of them. I know.
We went for, I think it was Godzilla and Kong, the sequel, and I think I showed it on the show. It was like an interlocking bucket, and it's like paid far too much for it, but we still have it. We still use it on like when we decide to do movie night at home and get the popcorn. That will be where the popcorn goes. So
that's cool. That is a really nice thing. I did it I did when I went to June last year. They had the the Ghostbuster drink. That's as most that I've ever done. It was just basically like it was a Tango Ice Blast but green. it was like a Slimer. It was like Slime Berry or something. It was totally fucking horrible. It's like it's sour and rank and just really strong lime flavors. But nah. Yeah, at Jurassic Park, I was hugely into the first Jurassic Park movie as a kid, and then so yeah, I will go see this one. Captain America comes out this weekend, and I don't have the time to see it, and I'm like, I'm not overly bothered about it either. I've not read any reviews on it either yet, like spoiler reviews or that spoiler free reviews, but I don't know. Wait to see what my week looks like next week. I might go and sneak out and see on Wednesday or something. But that was pretty cool. And then obviously like combination of like I'm a fucking sucker for like just doing what my mates do. So like if like I follow Leeds football team because our friend Tom follows Leeds. And then obviously I've started like poking into ice hockey because of yourself, and obviously me and Andrew have been watching Shoresy, and I found out my friend Jamie also from the Football Beer and Punk Rock podcast. He also watches Shoresy, so between the two of them, I've just been like messaging them like videos and clips and stuff. but it has given me like a total like we love for ice hockey again. I went to games when I was younger. So when we were in Kirkcaldy, I googled to see if there was anybody playing nearby, and it was Braehead Clan were playing, or Glasgow Clan were playing. But I think it's quite a big game. It's the two of the bigger teams in Scotland, elite level in Glasgow. So I tried to get us tickets, and the cheapest I could get was like 30 quid each, and it was gonna be really tricky to get sat next to each other as well. So I googled again. I was like, surely there must be another game, maybe a slightly less level. I know the drop off in ice hockey in Scotland's massive. I don't know how that compares to other countries that have ice hockey as a big sport, but I know that drop off for like again. So you were talking about the Fife Flyers. We were talking about the Fife Flyers. I know you follow them. That like they're struggling to work out where they're going to play next year. Is that right?
Yeah, the team's been put up for sale, and if there's not a buyer, I'm not sure if they're going to be in anything next year. It's a very strange time frame. I don't think it's ever happened. Like, and there's not been anyone obviously stepping forward to kind of buy the team. But I think the big news came today was that the team captain from like the last 4 or 5 seasons has actually returned from Sweden to Fife to join the team for the rest of this season, which
wow.
is huge news because the guy is beloved. I think it's Jonas Emmerdal. So that's probably been a big morale boost for the team. But yeah, it's Five Flyers is in so much uncertainty right now about who knows what the next season's going to look like. And I mean, they've played, I think, 33, 34 games this season, and they've only won 3, which is really painful. I mean, like, they've sacked their manager, half the team's left and just went back to where they've come from. So, like, for the guys that go out on the ice every week, like, kudos to them. Like, the morale must be so low at times.
Yeah.
But every time they get a win, it's as if they've won the league. Just like they were in, I think, Manchester, and they were losing. And I think this was like maybe like a night me and Max were watching, I think, that new Alien movie. And we looked at the first period and thought, ah, man, that's a shame. Closed the phone, watched the movie, and come back. It's like, fuck, they won. So it's just the small group of fans that would travel down were elated, just screaming the name of the goalie, and then proceed to go out and get pished. And because it was just like the best weekend ever. And that's what you kind of want especially if you've traveled like from Fife to like Manchester to support your team, and they pull it off, and it's fucking probably the best feeling ever. But yeah, it's been a fairly tough season for them. Like, I've never seen it this tough before.
Yes, and I've been reading loads this week about how like ice hockey, just because it's not a major sport in the UK compared to like I think they're obviously got like the folk that are involved in the hockey world are trying to make it bigger all the time, like all these other sports. But it's like football, rugby, then maybe cricket.
Yeah,
and
there's
then
some stat saying that it was maybe the 5th most attended sport in the UK. But you've probably just rattled off like all the ones that are actually above it still.
It's quite interesting to work out what is attended and stuff, because like I would think wrestling's quite well attended. Like like I know like you've got the big companies coming through like once a year each. Like All Elite are doing one show a year, and the WWE are doing like 2 or 3 tours every year, and then also like at a local level, which was bar me when I was trying to find like a hockey game to go to. I was like, I wonder if there's actually any wrestling in Glasgow. It's Saturday, and there wasn't. It was really odd. There was like a couple shows on here and there, but those shows are all pulling in like, I don't think those crowds are massive. You're probably at 100, 200, 300 per these smaller shows.
Yeah, definitely.
But it all adds up. I would be interested to see how many people are actually sat watching wrestling in a week in the UK. And I think the step up from like that grassroots level of wrestling to being in the WWE is not great either. Like it's it's not a massive step up. You've got like I was seeing like I follow a guy that I used to go out with when I was involved years ago. John, he wrestles for ICW, and he's wrestling Big Demo next month in Paisley.
Yeah.
In the Lagoon Centre, I think, which I think is actually where the Paisley Pirates play, isn't it? Like it's that. He's wrestling Big Demo. Big Demo was in the WWE a couple of years ago, so, and has wrestled for All Elite Wrestling as well. So, it's definitely like there's definitely like a pathway there. But yeah, when you come back to hockey, like I think from my understanding, just kind of looking at it, you've got the elite league, which is, and then you've got like one below that, which is like I think made up mostly of like English teams.
Yeah, and then we have like the
Scottish National League,
exactly, because there's another one and something like the EIHL, but I've never actually looked up what that abbreviation stood for. But
I had a look. I had a look at it, and it's the Solway Sharks playing it, which is like the only Scottish team that play in it.
And that's it makes it even like a bigger factor for like the travel for away games. And I think if the Flyers ended up in these leagues, it would put a bigger strain on the leagues in general. The fact that they now have to put cost into like traveling to and from Fife, and I guess like coach hire and
Well, it's quite. So I think it's quite so like the Solly Sharks play in that league, but I think it's only because they're so close to the English border that they're it's probably easier for them for some of the teams. It's easier for them to get to like I don't know a Morecambe. I don't know other teams that play in that league, but like a Carlisle or Morecambe, even like a Manchester, it's slightly easier. Preston, it's some of these bigger sort of northwest towns. It's easier for them to get there than it might be for them to get to Aberdeen, Dundee, and all these sorts. But yeah, I had so the game me and Sonny ended up going to last week was Kilmarnock Thunder versus Dundee Rockets, who I think aren't even they're like. So that was the Scottish National League, which I say looking at the discourse and the narrative online would be like a potential option for the Fife Flyers is to go down to that league, but have been like I've seen like Fife Flyers play in front of thousands of people, and then we were at Kilmarnock Thunder, and the crowd there was about 40 people in the crowd. And the majority of them were family and friends. Me and Sonny were only there because it was the closest game. Like it was the closest game that I could find for us to go to, based on where we were, and then it was tiny, like one stand up against the wall with like 3 rows of seating. It was good banner. It was amazing, and we saw like there was 14 goals in the game we saw. But
and I think it was maybe the next night that because I never paid attention to the game that you went to, like what the score was, but I did see a headline saying that the Kilmarnock Thunder broke they won their first game this weekend. And I was like, oh, fuck, did they turn it around? And I realised they played another game on Sunday, which they won.
It was really tight though. It was like, so they got, when Dundee beat them like 12-2, and then when they played North Ayr, I think, on the Sunday, and it was 2-1 in overtime. You know what I mean? So it was but it was good fun. And like it was £19 for me and Sonny to get there, and they gave us a raffle. They gave us a raffle ticket when we went in as well, and that raffle ticket again, like there was only 40 folk in the crowd, but so we had like a 1 in 40 chance of getting our money back, which is what the raffle prize was.
Aye,
it was good. I've never been to Kilmarnock before. It seems like a nice enough wee place. Very similar to like Dunfermline or Kirkcaldy.
Fair play to you for going there.
Yeah. It was good. It was good banner. And then on the way back up the roads, like my car radio has been a bit funny, so I was struggling to get I usually plug my phone into it, but I didn't have the cable. I left it at work, so I was just trying to find something on the radio, and we ended up listening on BBC Radio 4. There was like a discussion about the making of Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
It was good. Just like, what are the chances?
Exactly.
So a funny Saturday, a total geeky Saturday, but good banner. So
yeah.
Go and support local ice hockey or local sport in general. Like me and Andrew often talk about trying to get to small level football games because Andrew goes to the Scotland games. We've all been to big elite level sporting events, but actually at local level, it's great banter. Like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I always like to go to like my local wrestling shows. Like the posters I have in the background is like wrestling posters from which take place in like a local nightclub, but it's like maybe once every quarter. And they put on a great show. And it's always loved to go and support them. And just ice hockey in Kirkcaldy, I'm in favour of. And 9 times out of 10, it just comes down to what you can afford. I mean, like a Fife Flyers ticket, it's maybe £24 for an adult. A Kirkcaldy Kestrel adult tickets, £12. So, and kids under 11 get in for free. So, the Kestrels have a game this Saturday against the Edinburgh Capitals, which is a tournament game for some cup. Can't remember right now, but the Kestrels won the last game, so the score carries forward in this one, like in aggregate. So they have a 4-1 advantage in this one. So there's a good chance, I hope. But as you said, they could score. The opposing team could score 10 goals. Like that's the thing about hockey. It's not going to be like, it's going to be 2-1. Any chance it could be 10-1. So you could either be like absolute buzzing or absolute gut, depending on the way the pendulum swings.
Yeah, it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We'd definitely want to go again. Just need to see what my hours at work are. I've asked for next Saturday off, so I don't know. I don't know what the fixture list looks like for next weekend, but I'll have Sunday. So I'm like, I'm convenient Sunday. Grab Captain America followed by the hockey game. That'd be fucking brilliant.
Exactly. Sounds like perfect Saturday.
It does. Yeah, it's a perfect Saturday, man. What else do we want to talk about tonight? With 55 minutes. I can't find a bit of paper, but you absolutely destroyed me at the Royal Rumble predictions. Like,
we could spend 5 minutes talking about AEW Grand Slam in Brisbane, Australia.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm Tony Storm is the best thing in wrestling. That's just my opinion. She was my favorite thing all of last year. Just fucking head up, tits out, and watch out for the shoe was just like
exactly.
Like, oh my god, like that's so fucking funny. And then like walking off, and then our shoe flying back on, and just nonsense. And then I'll say like over Christmas, this whole her coming back as like herself as a rookie.
Yeah, it was almost like amnesia.
Yeah, she's so funny. I had just in
playing the creative
like,
role of playing yourself.
Yeah. And part of me hoped, I didn't think that's what they were going to do. I thought like maybe they were doing something else, but yeah, that was the punchline of the story, wasn't it? She was like, she had that thing where she was like the greatest role that anyone will ever play is themselves, and then she was, and then she revealed that she'd been timeless all the time. But I thought she was fucking, even when she was pretending to be a rookie, and like she was like, you know, she was doing like the video blogs of her, like,
it was like,
oh my god,
watching stuff from The Office. Where it's just like her talking to the camera, and then it's just her being awkward backstage, getting changed in the corridor,
geeking out when she saw somebody that she recognised off the telly, and that it was just great.
It's
so funny. Like, and then obviously like coming back and being like, Mariah Bay, I'm here and I'm gonna rip your tits off, and I'm like, this is so.
It's like, what was it? Like, I may have birthed you, but I will cram you back up there and spit you out. It's like, oh, it's gold.
And then Blether came back this week with the shoe.
With the shoe. And I was watching, that was what I was watching before we started. And it was like actually it was on Collision that happened. Like the bait and switch where Mariah decked some local lassie that looked like Tony. And when she was distracted by Luther, they switched players around and it was Tony there. Aye.
It's so good. So yeah, that'd be amazing. Cope's wrestling.
Oh, he's got a tag team. Him and Jay White going against Mox and Claudio in a Brisbane street fight.
What's your thoughts on like that? I know that the Death Raiders are not. There is the big general idea of like its directionalness, or like it should have erupted to something by now, because this was Cobra was Wrestle Dream when they kind of went against Brian Danielson, and I kind of like them, but I understand everyone's tired of seeing them show up every week, beat everyone, then leave. But no, I feel like watching Dynamite this week, it was a bit more interesting. Hope and Jay White stole the world title and were threatening to destroy it, and that's guaranteed them a title match at Revolution. But it's hard not to like Mox, Claudio, Pac. Like, even just the trios match they had this week against Undisputed Kingdom was brilliant. Like, I honestly swore that Adam Cole and his pals were going to get the belt, but it didn't happen. But they still just do these amazing matches that kind of back things up. But it's just the thing of like who is going to kind of dethrone them, who's going to like, and I feel like it's going to have to be to a point where like Cope's flavor of the month, but eventually it's going to like they're going to have to look at Osprey or Omega and go and think, well, why aren't you pitching it? So. No, I totally agree. All Elite Wrestling is just a weird. I don't really know it when it happened, but it just seems to have like dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big character guy when it comes to wrestling, so like I always mind when we went to London. Like the wrestling was great, but it was just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the entrances and like just the character
Yeah.
moments and stuff, and that was like that was totally incredible. But then I don't know, it just there was a definite buzz in the air, like we were present at something really special.
Yeah.
So WWE seems to have done it. So like all Elite Wrestling, it's just great matches all the time. And you look at the Grand Slam lineup, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like that should be like a show for the ages. Like it's fucking awesome. We're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
like even with Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega tagging up against Kyle
Exactly.
Fletcher and Takeshita. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's incredible. Like
Aye, that's
that's one of
like
the best wrestlers in the world.
yeah. I think there's 5 matches, and because they're still claiming it. It's like it's Saturday Night Collision, but it just happens to be Grand Slam in Australia. It's
Yeah.
almost like kind of like a mini pay-per-view. But still having those 2 tag team matches with the men, Buddy Murphy getting that. Wait, is it Buddy Murphy or Buddy Matthews? Which one was his?
Who is Buddy? It's Buddy Matthews is wrestling tomorrow against Okada.
Yeah, exactly. So like that should be like an amazing match.
Oh, absolutely outstanding. I just don't know. I don't know what's happened. And obviously, I tried to. I've had to come off of quite a lot of Facebook pages recently because there's all the.
Oh yeah,
like,
the negativity towards AEW, like just the amount of like in the last 6 months, people posting like blanked off sides arenas or empty chairs. And I'm just like, oh, just fucking let it go.
It's just folk trying to fuel an argument, isn't it? That doesn't really need to exist, and it's like
exactly like you're allowed to like both. You're allowed to watch both. Like stop fucking poking at others and yeah, and I mean yeah. As long as it's on my TV each week, I'm happy.
Yeah. There's no denying that like there has been some weird sort of fall off in All Elite Wrestling, but like good wrestling is great for everybody. It's the whole like if one fails, there's less places for the wrestlers to work. There's but yeah, but all that sort of stuff. But no, I think I'm on the close on Saturday, which means I get home about midnight. So part of me is like, oh. That's probably one of the better things about watching.
I'm not sure when it airs because obviously it's Australia. So is it live?
Oh, that's a good fucking
or
point.
their time in the evening, or is it sort of like taped and then just aired at the normal time? So I'm not sure what a UK start time would look like.
I'm going to Google it just now. When is AEW?
I'll most likely just watch it on Sunday morning.
Yeah, it's probably what I'll do, actually. Hopefully
I'll have time because I'm away to Edinburgh on Sunday to I've booked another experience at the Johnny Walker
excellent, man.
place in Edinburgh. We're doing the whiskey and chocolate tasting experience. So we're getting to try 4 types of chocolates against 4 types of whiskies that's well matched.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, and I think they have beer cocktails. Supposedly they've got the Iron Brew Sour into like an ice cream float style whiskey cocktail. So I'm going to go try that. So I will most likely be half pissed on Sunday afternoon. Why not? So when's it showing?
I'm just having a look just now. In the UK, it will air at 1 a.m.
That's still not any better for us. Okay.
That's fine for me. I get home at midnight. I'll be able to like do my dishes and make sure straighten my flat up, and then a couple hours of wrestling. It's not bad.
Exactly. See,
I was able to do it a couple of weeks. It's probably like there's not many benefits to working on a Saturday night, but actually it keeps me awake. As I say, I don't get home till about midnight, so and that's just about when these shows all kind of start. Like I watched I didn't watch it all, but I watched that GCW show, GCW versus the World, which ended up being not very good actually. Like there was a weird thing where the guy is it PCO
he
came,
brought his belt and tried
he
to
did that,
destroy it. Aye.
and then there was a number 1 contenders match between FA and Ali.
Where the woman broke her leg.
Yeah, it was it was just really unpleasant. I was like, and they hadn't like, I think the big criticism of that was that GCW hadn't sorted out their medical issues well enough, so there was no way to get her out of the arena.
Yeah.
And so she's like, and they could continue the show till she was away, but they couldn't move her because of the way it it was just like, oh my goodness, it's just stuff like this they should have sorted.
Yeah, you think that's the first thing you have sorted when booking shows or something? Just
adequate medical support was unavailable. It was just a bit like, it's a shame. But I'm quite excited for Grand Slam. I think it'll be quite good.
Yeah, exactly. Even blinking Harley Cameron, who is immensely entertaining, like just overly talented. The ventriloquism of her Mercedes Monet puppets. It's like, how are you brilliant at everything?
Yeah, she's obscenely good at everything. Like, it's just like it's not fair.
But no, most likely she's won her first televised match in I feel like she's been with AEW for maybe 2 years now. So the fact that she just won her first title, she just won for the first time.
Yeah,
and she's now managed to get herself a title shot, but she'll most likely not win. But still, she's still getting to fight. Because I think every title match is like there's an Australian in the title picture.
Mm-hmm. Again, it goes
Buddy with Okada. You have.
Oh, you're right. Right, work out. Go ahead. Who you got?
Tony Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, we were just talking about Harley Cameron.
Yeah.
And I think is that just the 3 titles. I don't think there's.
No, there's you got Buddy Matthews. You said that, didn't you?
Yeah.
You've got the Brisbane
the 2 women's titles.
You've got the Brisbane Brawl. Yeah, you got Tony Storm. Who's Australian in the Brisbane Brawl?
Well, I'm Jay White's from New Zealand, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that might be the foil in your
yeah. So, but that's it. There's no titles involved in that one.
And then the tag team match. You're missing one Australian.
Oh yeah, Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, boy. I've got my Aussie Open T-shirt on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we might get the Young Bucks appearing.
They lost their belts, didn't they? They lost their titles.
And Lincoln, like Hiroyuki Goto is like the new New Japan World Champion. Like, I need to watch that match. I've always had a soft spot for Hiroyuki Goto. He's always come out with like the best theme music and gear set up, and they just assumed like, this guy's maybe towards the end of his career. But
yeah, I definitely thought that.
The fact that they put him over Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah,
it's like, I need to see how this happened.
I'm trying to see if I seen if he was at Royal Quest. I went to Royal Quest in London, and I think Goto was there, but I can't remember. They did like, if you've ever seen like a New Japan show, they're like not structured like this is like I'm preaching to you, but you know this already. But their New Japan shows are structured so differently to like American wrestling shows. You know, where they do the like. It's almost like it elevates up. So like in a WWE event or an AEW event, you'll have like big wrestlers in the opening, and then you'll have like
having a hot open.
Yeah, but whereas like, not saying that New Japan don't have a hot open, but they definitely do like the Oh, that's not the one I went to. I went to the other one. Royal Quest 2019 is what I went to. I was like, there was only 4 matches in last year's. So that's not true. Yeah, so like the first match was is it Roppongi 3K Rocky
Oh yeah.
Romero's.
Hmm.
And you look at it now, I'm like, actually, like I remember that time thinking I only know Rocky Romero in this group, but now looking at it now, it's like actually
Was that Show and Yo or something?
Show and Yo, and then they were wrestling Taguchi Umo and Narita, is it Narita? So like Red Narita and Shota Umino, and like those guys are like I'm looking at it now, like Kota Ibushi and Juice Robinson. Like, why didn't I know who they were? Yeah, Will Ospreay and Robbie Eagles versus Bullet Club. No, I didn't. I thought Goto was there, but he wasn't.
Yeah, I think Robbie Eagles is fighting this Saturday as well because they've announced a card for. They're doing it's like a Ring of Honor show and Collision back to back. So it's like Ring of Honor Global Wars. So you've got like Athena and you've got Robbie Eagles and of course Jericho and the Learning Tree against Bandito and the Outrunners.
That's a great match.
So,
actually,
So there's actually for the people going there, they're gonna have a great night.
Oh, totally. And I think they were trying to because there was a lot of like they were talking about how like originally when they announced they were doing Australia and people bought tickets, I think they thought they were maybe going to something bigger, like they were maybe going to.
I think there was
an
a
all in
definite
Australia
change in arena, wasn't there?
Yeah,
I think it was a bigger scale, then got smaller, and everyone had bought tickets originally ended up with worse seats.
Yeah, and I think people were like thinking they were getting an all in Australia basically, and they're not. They were just getting a Collision. But I think adding a Ring of Honor is maybe the thing that.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely that's going to fill it. Like that will make the 3 hours.
Like I just mind when we were all in, and it was just match. The pre-show was like 3 hours long, and it was just like fucking hell. Like this is just like we're getting ruined. But I mean, I don't think they've started selling the tickets yet for Forbidden Door. But I imagine that tickets won't be nearly as cheap as they were for All In.
Yeah, and they'll move just as quick.
Yeah. I'm looking at that. I forgot all the good matches at that Royal Quest show I went to. I do remember Kenta wrestled Ishii, and Ishii got a concussion in like the first 2 minutes. It was pretty brutal. But then we also got like the Gorillas of Destiny versus Aussie Open.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, you look at that now, like I remember that time it was Tamatonga and Tagaloa were amazing, and also they're now both in WWE, and maybe aren't as amazing as I remember them. But Aussie Open were like the Progress guys. Like they hadn't quite broke through yet, so they were they were like the local tag team that were getting to wrestle the God, and it was I remember just being like, this is fucking awesome. Like I'd seen Aussie Open on a couple of there was a random channel on Sky for a wee while that was showing Progress. And with Kevin Kelly doing the commentary and stuff and being like and so I remember seeing Aussie Open on that and thinking these guys are great. So when I heard that they were wrestling the God, I was like, this fucking yes, like, and felt like a like a total smart fan. Like I was like I was a kid that came like when we watched the Royal Rumble and Joe Hendry came out and I was like, yep, he's beat me up before.
That guy told me to lighten up.
Yeah, and now he's in the Royal Rumble, and
he cheered on by Sheamus.
Yeah, exactly. That was last couple of minutes. I did really enjoy the Royal Rumble this year. That was one moment. I think the two standout moments for the entire show were I didn't know who Speed was. That Speed's
the YouTube guy that got Tozawa's space.
But I remember sort of zoning out. I was sitting next to Sonny. Sonny had taken a nap, so he could come and watch it with me. It was really nice getting to watch the Royal Rumble with my son. Was a nice experience. Yeah. He totally marked out. Like he got really excited when he saw Speed, and I didn't know who he was. I was like, "Who is he?" And he's like, "I watch him on YouTube, Dad." And then he came out, and then obviously that spear he took off of Braun Breaker.
Yeah, broke.
Yeah, and then obviously Joe Hendry coming out as well. Those were like my highlights of the show. Also, and then Kevin Owens taking that weird Alabama slam and just
who came up with that idea and thought, yeah, that's a great thing. Let's do that. It's like, I'm pretty sure I just saw a man die.
Yeah, that's
And
it. Like I was
it's
watching it with Sonny, and I was watching it with Sonny, and that was the same thing here. Sonny was like, "Is he okay?" And they didn't move for ages, and his neck was at a weird angle, and it was like,
yeah,
I think he's okay. I think this is all just part of the show, and then I kind of got
it's the moment after the match where Cody leaves and then comes back and gets on the announcer's table, and they get this angle, and it's almost like a Renaissance painting where Sammy's holding like the corpse of Kevin Owens, and Cody's behind him with the belt looking down. It's like, oh my god.
I was able to use that to explain to Sonny. I think Sonny was getting a bit worried for Kevin Owens. He was like, "He's not moved," and I was like, "I think they wouldn't be showing you. They wouldn't be showing you him
Yes, not
as like
exactly.
as like wrestling does a thing where if somebody's really hurt, they'll take the camera away and film the crowd, or they'll do something else. But the fact that the fact that they brought Cody back in, and I was like, otherwise I was like, I was trying to explain. I was like, I think my understanding of Cody is like he's a really nice guy. So if there was a genuine injury and he was hurt, I think Cody's one of those guys that would break character.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, that's like you could just explain it to like another moment earlier, like in the women's rumbles. I remember when that women's top about fell off. And you notice how all the cameras cut away.
I did love when I'd kind of unfairly blind put you and my friend Jim, because I was messaging you, I was messaging Jim. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to put us onto a group chat," and that's probably the last thing we spoke about was I think it was Jamie going, "That girl's top."
Like... yeah, and I think people were applauding Liv Morgan, where she just deliberately throws her out of frame and then continues fighting, so the cameras look on the other side of the ring. Whilst
you can see him, you can see the referee run behind, and like there was and I think it was purposely when the female refs ran round to try and help her out. I was like, that's hilarious.
I mean, and that's even the referee, the commentary is like, "Oh, I think we have a wardrobe malfunction." It's like, don't bring it up.
I think one of the other random things, and I'll need to find a quote. Like, I listened to a podcast about where they listen to commentators and they listen to just the language of football, and they talk about like why. And I was like, oh, there's no one doing this for wrestling just now. You should totally do this for wrestling because we have so much random commentary, and my Instagram is just full of like. I heard a thing the other day. I was laughed out loud and didn't have anyone around me that I don't know if I shared it to you. I definitely shared it to my mate Craig, where it was like them picking up. It was just before a WWF show in like 2001, and the mic picks up Jim Ross going, "Now before our main event, for the 700th time, my sacrifice by Creed." It's like, and then you can hear Jerry Lawler in the background laughing, going, "Come on, man." It's like the mic's just picked up a really pissed off JR, like because he knows he has to sit and listen to the same Creed song again. That happens in wrestling all the time, and like obviously they pick up and the football commentators spew some nonsense, but sometimes when you're listening to wrestling, you're like, "Shut up, Michael Cole! What are you talking about?"
It's all the daft banter they have on AEW, where I think it was a conversation between Taz and Tony Schiavone, and I'm not sure where Taz. I think Schiavone was on his phone, and Taz was like trying to say, "Hey, come on, we've got a match here." And he says, "Well, watch the match." He's like, "Watch the match? I am watching the match, dude." And he's like, "He's got me shoot hot." And he's just like, "Watch the match, watch the match." And he's just
so
absolutely
good,
raging. It's definitely on like Botchamania. It's just a brilliant moment, just like how angry he gets because Tony's being so dismissive with him.
Matthew and Botchamania is amazing. Like I really like. One of my highlights of my Friday is the Cultaholic podcast, and it's Jack and Ross, who used to be members of What Culture. It's them and Matthew, the guy that does Botchamania, every Friday, and it's like 3 hours, and it's just fucking awesome. I catch it in bits throughout the week, but it's just but yeah, Matthew's a great. I think it was Matthew that picked up as well, like, or one of the other guys I listened to, where they mentioned, I can't remember who the wrestler was, but it was like a total random reference to like a Chelsea footballer. It's one of the female one in the women's Royal Rumble. Sorry, there was somebody came out and one of the commentators made reference to the fact that she was like before she was a wrestler, she was like a really good right back for her university's soccer team. And they're like, some have said that she's the best holding right back since, and they just mentioned like a total random like Chelsea player. I was like, it's like, that's a fucking bizarre reference. What are you talking about? It's like, as somebody that follows football, I'm like, holding right back. Oh, it's just weird. Like, I love shit like that. I love it. I'm like, yeah, there's like, there's definitely a podcast in there for us where we're just like, what is JR talking about? What is it? I remember once watching a match where the Undertaker was punching somebody and JR was like, all those cancerogenic punches of the Undertaker. I was like, sorry, did JR just say that like the Undertaker causes cancer when he hits somebody? Like, it's like what's going on? It's so good. And like, you just like takes you out of the match for a couple of minutes and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, wrestling's fucking awesome. Hockey's awesome. Who's your American hockey team? Have you got?
I've not got one. I've never paid I think it's just because either I don't watch it or I'm not following it close enough. I did watch an Amazon series that was about. You'd have to look up it. It's just the NHL heading to like the Stanley Cup, and it's like 8 episodes, and it follows a different team. But it was interesting. It was cool, but I can't follow it. I just see highlights on Facebook and think, oh, that's cool. But yeah I've never found it like a true calling to like a team.
That's interesting.
Yeah. You see everyone like when you like I went ice skating with Alex. Well, he went skating with the Cubs on Saturday, and I seen people wearing like the Vegas Golden Knights or something. Yeah. And there was like kids wearing those hockey strips, and I just thought that was random. But like, if you're into hockey, you're most likely into the NHL, and you have your team. You're wearing your Maple Leafs hat. And, but it's never clicked with me just yet. And I'm not sure if it's just because you want to watch it live, and it's like wrestling. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's going to be 3 hours long, so it's just never clicked.
It's weird, like football, like there's been a lot of discourse in soccer just now, talking football about just how much players play, and obviously where like the television rights and the money that television companies play to broadcast football now, it's created like when I was younger, you know football was on at 3 o'clock and you couldn't watch it, so you could follow the scores on Soccer Saturday, then you watch the goals or match of the day, and that was it. And then you would maybe try and catch a game locally. Whereas now it's like, because of Sky Sports, it's like, and TNT and all these other channels, Amazon play football. You've got a game on every day. You know, like whether it's in Europe or it's like a catch-up game or whatever, there's a game on all the time, and it makes it ridiculously hard to keep up with. Like I messaged my mate Tom, who's a diehard Leeds fan. So what are you up to tonight? He's like, Leeds are playing. And I was just like, it was like Wednesday. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, so they are. Like, it just can't keep up. And I find like with wrestling and with like, I can imagine the same with hockey and even American football, which I used to follow quite a lot. Just there's games on all the time, and you just forget what's happening when, and then it's not till the next day. But like, I was wearing a Philadelphia Eagles t-shirt to a gig. I went to see a Bruce Springsteen tribute band over Christmas, and I wore my because Bruce Springsteen's got a song about Philadelphia, I wore my Philadelphia Eagles t-shirt. And some drunk guy came up to me and he was like, fucking fly, Eagles, fly, man. So backslapped me and walked away. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I'm only wearing this t-shirt because of a Bruce song. Like I used to be in a group chat for a fantasy American football league I was in. And like folk, like it's interesting how folk are, like what teams folk support and why. And you know, one guy that was like, I support the Philadelphia San Francisco 49ers because The Rock by Nicolas Cage is my favorite film. And you're like, and he's like, I went through a weird being obsessed with San Francisco as a result, and then was like, oh well, what's their team? And then you've obviously then got folk that like support the Raiders, but then the Raiders have moved cities 3 or 4 times in the last 25 years, and it's weird. It's good. It's interesting who follows people and why. One guy that had been to see WrestleMania in Texas and managed to catch a friendly with the Houston Texans while he was there, so that's his team. You know, stuff like that. It's interesting. It's good.
Yeah.
I like that sort of stuff. Anywho, that's another 25 minutes, man. We did well.
Yeah, exactly. With no plan.
With no
always
plan.
Find someone to talk about easily.
If folk want to send us a plan, that would make life easier. Please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. The YouTube's building up. We're talking about, like, I watched all the trailers from the Super Bowl trying to find another meme that we could jump on. Because our Fantastic Four one did quite well. So
Yes, it did.
So yeah, trying to jump on the zeitgeist. So yeah, everyone, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you all soon, and all that malarkey. Cheers, Stu.
Cheers, Jeff.